South Park Snow Day has now been out for just over a year, so is it still worth it? The game originally launched to mixed reviews, and even to this day, it still remains in this mixed barrier on Steam. If you're looking for a good classic South Park humour game, then you're in luck because the introduction to it immediately shows that you're in for a good time. Its charisma of mocking modern events is present as the game is heavily mixed in with COVID humour, like everyone going absolutely mental with toilet paper, and this has become the game's currency, which I find absolutely hilarious. The main gist of the game takes place after the events of both Stick of Truth and the Fractured But Whole, and as Cartman is sick and tired of us always being incredibly OP and ruining the fun, you now only get a few cards to play alongside a bullshit card that helps give you an advantage against your opponent for a small amount of time. But remember, they will also have a bullshit card or cards to even that playing field. The combat in this game feels good, as you can either use your main melee weapon or a secondary weapon that could either be like a bow or a staff, for example. I feel like the game could give a little bit more of a better indicator of when to dodge, as I do feel like I do loads of rolling while trying to pay attention to loads of enemies coming my way. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, as you can upgrade your skills to improve your chances of defeating enemies more quickly, but what I do find a tad annoying is how the AI isn't the best. I mean, it does its job, but there were moments where I seriously felt like it was providing more of a disadvantage than an advantage. I knew from the get-go that this game was definitely intended to be played with others in mind, and seeing how the AI was during my time playing the game, this feeling definitely strengthened. I feel like if you have a group of friends who would happily play this with you, then I can imagine it being an absolute blast to play with your friends. But when you're playing it solo, I just feel like the game is lacking that little bit of something. But I guess that's the consequence of playing this game solo. However, the little challenges that you get do make the combat feel rewarding, as you can collect platinum pieces, and you get these by completing certain challenges like defeating a certain amount of enemies, for instance. The game is surprisingly explorative, as you can explore each area you travel through during your quests. Sometimes this can be extremely beneficial, as you're able to find more resources that you can use to aid you and improve your skills and weaponry quicker. I'm always a sucker for trying to go through every nook and cranny I can before progressing, so this is a very nice touch. And finally, the visuals. Usually this would be my first point for the reviews, but I wanted to leave it at the end as the game looks surprisingly great. I know the previous attempts of trying to convert the 2D world of South Park into a 3D space has never really been the best, but I feel like with Snow Day, they've definitely done it right, where it keeps that South Park art style with the charm of 3D. So in conclusion, South Park Snow Day is jam-packed with modern South Park humour that makes it an absolute treat as you go through each quest. The game has good combat, but this is immediately flip-sided where the AI could be better, but I think that's more because the game has seemingly been made for multiple people in mind instead of purely solo play. And you should definitely get this game when it is on a decent sale.